How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Foggins Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to the movie review, aka after our soul review video for today. This time for this new episode for the series is going to be my review on the 2023 supernatural horror film, and this film is also based off the 1973 short story of the same name, and that is The Boogeyman. Now, this is directed by Rob Savage, who directed Host and Dashcam, which both of them I thought with very good found footage horror films, and so he has now come to make a new horror film, but this is a different type of horror film here, in which in this case, this one is based off one of Stephen King's short stories. And so the story of the film is that, still reeling from the tragic death of their mother, a teenage girl and a younger sister find themselves plagued by a sadistic presence in the house, and they are struggling to get their grieving father to pay attention before it's too late. So that's pretty much the story of The Boogeyman. Now, when it comes to Stephen King adaptations, they can either be hit or miss. Like, we've had a few in the last few years that have been pretty damn good, but we've had a few in the last few years that haven't been all that good. But I was still intrigued to see this film nonetheless, though, since this was a new Stephen King adaptation. But before I found out this was a Stephen King adaptation, at first I thought it was like a remake to the 2005 film, which was called Boogeyman, which I've never seen that film, and from what I've heard for the reviews, they haven't been all that good or anything like that. But once I did find out this was a Stephen King adaptation, I was getting myself really interested to see this one, since I do tend to enjoy Stephen King adaptations and all that. And I didn't even know much of the cast who were in the film and all that, but I was surprised that Rob Savage was directing this film. And like I said before, he has directed two really good found footage films over the last few years, namely Host and Dashcam, which both of them were really damn good. So I was really intrigued to see what he was going to do for a new Stephen King movie here. And this film came out the exact same day as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse did, which I went to see that film first. And I was planning to see this film the next day, but unfortunately I was busy. But I did manage to see this film just once I had a few days off work. And so I saw this film just a couple of days after it was released, along with Across the Spider-Verse. And there wasn't that many people on the screen that I was in, unfortunately, but there was a fair amount, though. But after watching this movie here, I can definitely tell you guys that I had a good solid time here with The Boogeyman here. For the acting talent here for this film, I thought everyone here for the most part were pretty strong here for their performances here, like Sophie Thatcher, Chris Messina, David Dastmalchian. I thought everyone here for the most part were pretty strong here for their performances here. And the direction by Rob Savage I thought was pretty creative here for what he was going for here for this horror film here. Like, the horror aspects he was able to put in here into this film, like the build up to a jump scare, which I thought the jump scares here for this film were pretty effective here. And the whole build up to the Boogeyman, which I thought was pretty good. Although, for the Boogeyman himself, he's not in the movie that much, because for most of the film, he's mostly in the dark and all that. Those are the things I did like in this film. The things I did not like in this film were, unfortunately, that this film added in a few cliches here that I felt like this film kind of took out of some, like, this film kind of took from like other horror films here, which that's one of the few flaws that you have with this film. And this film didn't kind of really explain much of like where the Boogeyman originally came from and all that, when he starts to terrorize this family and all that, in which that's another flaw I had with this film. And another flaw I did have with this film was its pacing, because the pacing for the film I felt was pretty rough here. Even though the film's runtime here is acceptable here, it's only now in 39 minutes. It's just that there were a few scenes that do tend to go a bit rough and all that due to its rough pacing here, but it does manage to pick itself up to get to an important moment of the film and all that. But in the end, guys, The Boogeyman, I had a good solid time here with this horror film here. It's definitely another good Stephen King adaptation here, but it's not like the next It or The Shining or anything like that. But if you're a huge fan of Stephen King adaptations or anything like that, or just like creepy, like supernatural horror films here, like this one here, you may have a good time with this one. And if you miss a chance to see this in cinemas, it is available to watch at home on demand. So that's pretty much all to say about The Boogeyman here. I'm going to give The Boogeyman 3.5 out of 5. Despite being flawed here, I still managed to have a good time with this new horror film here. And like I said, this is nowhere near being like the next new Stephen King classic like It or The Shining or anything like that. But this is still a good solid Stephen King adaptation here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After I Saw review on The Boogeyman, and let me know what you think of this movie if you have seen this already, or if you just recently checked out this film. Did you have a really good time with this, or was it not really a popcorn treat? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Foggins Media Corner signing off.